Hey, welcome back, and in this episode I'm going to answer your question about why do my guitar chords sound so bad. Now there's probably could be a few things going on, but we're going to cover that for you because chords are very important, of course, and we want them to sound nice and clean, especially when we change them. Alright, and if you stick around to the end, I do have a free gift for you. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, let's dive into this topic of why do my guitar chords sound bad. Alright, we're going to be looking at hand positioning in this episode, hand pressure as well. We're going to be taking a look at maybe moving your guitar to a different position, because that's going to help take the strain off your wrist. And also we're going to look at what the action is and why it is important for you to have that set right. Okay, let's go for it. If you've got chords that are sounding buzzy, muted, there's generally a few things going on that we can prevent, but it just takes awareness so we know what we need to change. All right, so hand position is our big one. All right, where do we position our hand on the guitar to play chords nice and cleanly? What I recommend is, like, first things first, your thumb. That's got to be on the back of the guitar neck, not up over there. You see some guitar players playing chords like that, I should say, but we don't want that. We want just nice and flat on the back. And what I mean by that is this. Right, so you've got your thumb in position, right, nice and flat on the back, not over the top. And then the next thing we've got to do when we play a chord, we'll look at a G chord, for example, is we got to have all our fingers come around and they're up on their tips. We don't want flat fingers like this, all right? We don't want clubbing the guitar. Remember, that thumb's got to be on the back of the neck. So we want a nice up on the fingertips there, thumb in a good position, because we want a gap in between here. We don't want any of this touching these top strings. What that does is, like, when you play an E minor chord, for example, if your hand is coming through on there and touching that, whether you play with your first or second finger, doesn't matter, you're going to be muting those top strings, and it's going to make the chord sound really muted, all right? And it's not going to sound good. All right, so that's my first two tips. Get your thumb in position, up on your fingertips, and have a nice gap in there. Let's talk about how much pressure you need, because when I teach adults here on the Gold Coast in their guitar lessons, I see them as a beginner really squeezing the guitar neck. All right, there's a lot of tension coming in. You can see it in their forearm going up through, even in their jaw and their neck. They're holding tension because they're just squeezing so hard. Now, as a beginner, I get it. You don't have the calluses properly developed yet, so they need time to develop. But you really don't need as much pressure as you think. All right, and what I mean by that is, yes, until those calluses are developed, you are going to have to put slightly more pressure to get the notes to sound. All right, and once the calluses develop, they do the work for you. All right, so you'll find that if your customers are squeezing these chords really hard, generally look at your thumb over the top, or there's no gap in between your palm there compared to the top string. All right, get that right, and then just like you squeeze it really hard, and you're going to sound the chord great. But all I want you to do then is just start to relax the pressure, all right? And relax. And just feel that tension go out of your hand, out of your arm, wrist, everywhere. And just back it off each time until you can play that chords cleanly, and you'll notice that there shouldn't be this pressure there, but it's not a tension. You're not really squeezing it down, okay? So that's another reason why your chords don't sound clean, is because you're squeezing it, and with that you push your hand out of position, and you're getting muted strings, buzzy notes and stuff like that. So just back off the tension there. Just back it off, nice and easy. And then you'll find that you can still sound those chords just as well, but like your body's going to be thanking you for that, all right? Because there's no tension there. And here's a little extra tip, when there's no tension there, it allows this hand to move nice and easy, all right? Because you just think, the analogy of a garden hose, all right? If you've got your garden hose, you have water in the yard, and it's just flowing nicely, but as soon as you crimp that hose, it backs up and no water can flow out, all right? So think of your hand as that garden hose. So if you're squeezing everything, the life out of this guitar, just to play those chords, that is all crimped up. It's not good. So when you go to change chords, what happens is the pressure releases. The hand freaks out. That's so good. But then it takes a long time to get back into the chord and squeeze down again, right? So if you just relax, like the garden hose, that water's just got to keep flowing every time that you do it. All right, so work on that. Get those chord shapes going with the minimum amount of pressure, your thumb in a good position, and the gap in between the hand there. Okay, another thing that may be making your guitar chords sound bad is where you've got your guitar positioned. Right, now I'm not talking about hand, I'm just talking about on your body. Now, most guitar players start out and they see it on TV, see their favorite guitar player, whatever it may be, and they're playing on this, like on their right leg, right? Obviously, if you're a lefty, it's going to be on your left leg there. Now, and that's all well and good, but you're way out in front of the guitar body, and there's a lot of pressure on this wrist. So we're really gripping to get that in and try and minimize this wrist here. What I suggest, it may work for you, 9 times out of 10 it does, but doesn't feel comfortable straight away. What I suggest is just moving this guitar over onto your left leg, right? Now, if you need to put your foot on the floor, your right foot on the floor and lift it up a little bit, your left leg, by all means do that. But what that does is just takes the pressure off your wrist there and allows you for good position because you're back closer to your body, all right? And that way you can apply less pressure. Now, and because the guitar neck is raised, what this does is when you're working on bar chords, it takes the pressure off this wrist here and just has the neck going in a certain way that is ideal for this hand to come in on. And it makes playing bar chords so much easier. Okay? So that's just an optional extra. You can rest it on your left leg there, and because it's raised and it's pointing down on an angle, it allows everything to come in just nicely. All right, the final thing I want to talk to you about is, and I find this is the biggest issue of them all for why your guitar chords sound bad, is what we call action. Now, all the action is the height of your strings off the fretboard. Now, most beginner guitars are made fairly cheaply, and most guitars are factory produced. So I'm not picking on these sorts of guitars. I'm just saying that what I will say is, doesn't matter how much you spend on a guitar, it's going to need to be set up with the action at a good height. All right. Now, the perfect height, that comes with experience, so I'm not going to go into that here. All I'm going to say is take it to your luthier or your guitar repair guy or the music store and get them to set it up as low as possible, the string height to the fretboard as possible, without any buzzy notes. All right, and because if your action is up high, if your strings are up high off your fretboard, it's going to make so much pressure to put down and get those chord shapes going, right? And as an adult beginner hand, hey, your hands hasn't got that dexterity, hasn't got that strength in there to be able to push that down, and neither should you have to, all right? But the more that you're pushing down, the more pressure you're going to be forced to use just to get those notes to sound cleanly for those chords, all right? Remember, we want everything nice and relaxed. So having the action, the height of your strings off your fretboard is going to make a huge difference. So you want it as low as possible all the way along. All right, and this is going to make any open chords you play that much easier because you'll feel, oh, I don't have to press down as far, all right, which takes away the pressure and the tension that you may be using or experiencing, I should say. And when it comes to bar chords, which is a lot harder to play because there's a lot more strength in getting the bar chord down, you'll find that with the lower action, it almost feels like butter. Right, you're playing, it's so much easier to play. You don't have to press down hard, all right, especially if you keep your guitar in this position here. All right, I feel I've covered enough ground to help you understand why your guitar chords sound bad. So keep following those tips, but if you want an easier way to play songs with an easier path forward, I do have a free gift for you, and that's my Ultimate 4-Chord Songbook. Really, it's not a book, it's a video course. You get one song a month for 10 months, and it's all free. And all I do is just lay out simple 4-chord songs or less for you to play and learn. All right, so we're using easy chord shapes so we can work on our strumming, get that developed, because that's what people recognize, the rhythms and stuff like that. All right, so all the songs are broken down into small videos for you, and it's easy to follow along, easy to do at your own pace. You just, because this show is short, you just learn that one part, stop it, move on to the next. You get a 1-page chord chart with that. Basically, it's a cheat sheet, so the whole song is on 1 page. And if you've gone through learning songs through tab or sheet music, you'll know that there's a lot of information visually coming at you, which can be overwhelming. So I keep it really simple. Here's the chords, here's the strumming pattern, and you can follow along with that really easy. And to get this, all you need to do is just follow this link below and enter your details, and you'll get your first song straight away. And then in a month's time, you'll get your next song. And as I said, over the course of 10 months. And if you would like more help with how to play basic guitar chords and get this cut so they're not buzzy or muty, have a look at this video here. I think you'll find it very useful. All right, I'll see you in the next one.